Well, first of all, CBC has had to correct the falsehoods that they put into that story. So I encourage you to tell Canadians about the falsehoods you published and explain why you did that. But
Matthew Skase, Globe and Mail. You've yet to address last week's floor crossing and departure from caucus. Chris d'Entremont said your leadership is why he crossed the floor. How do you respond to comments that your caucus is not united right now?
Well, first of all, I just quote Mr. d'Entremont, who said, and I quote, "Since I first elected here in 2019, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Even then, families in Nova Scotia, as it is now, as it was called at the time back, but is now Acadie and Annapolis, we're struggling. We warned that the Liberals out-of-control spending and massive deficits were irresponsible, but of course they did not listen. Now, after 6 months under the new Prime Minister Mark Carney, who promised fiscal discipline, Canadians are still waiting." He said, Mr. Carney said, I'm quoting Mr. d'Entremont here, Mr. Carney said he would be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%, said Mr. d'Entremont. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate, and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane for a G7 country, said Mr. d'Entremont of Liberal policies. He said, "We are a rich country. We are a food basket of a country. We can produce all the food for many people in the world, and we can barely feed ourselves for some reason," end quote. That is how Mr. d'Entremont described the outrageous cost of living as the direct result of Mark Carney's Liberals. I'm very saddened for the Nova Scotia families on whom Mr. Carney and Mr. d'Entremont are raising the price of groceries and homes, but that will not change our resolve to continue to fight for an affordable Canada, affordable budgets, and an affordable future. Thank you. Cool.
Hey, Tim Brooks, CTV. You lost 2 MPs the week of the budget. One cited your leadership as a reason for leaving. I just want to put Carney and the Liberals to the side here, just as you personally.
Of course you do.
Does this say anything about your leadership? Have you maybe reflected on your leadership style moving forward?
No, my plan is to continue to lead and be the only leader in the country that's fighting for an affordable Canada, where our people who work hard can afford a home and food. That is my agenda, and I will just quote Mr. d'Entremont when he speaks about Mark Carney. He says, "After 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said that he would be judged by the cost of groceries at the store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed." He said this only a few months ago. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices are up 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane, said Mr. d'Entremont, for a G7 country. So he said that Liberal food price inflation under Mark Carney was inhumane, and I couldn't agree more. And I feel badly for the inhumane conditions, to use his own words, that he is now supporting for his own constituents. But I won't just quote him. I'll quote Nate Erskine-Smith, a Liberal MP, who now says that his children should not have to pay for Mark Carney's budget. Let me see here. Now to the bad and more fairly, where expectations were set at a level we failed to meet, including on the question of generational investments. The budget falls short of these specific promises in our platform, and it unfortunately falls well short of the wartime home building effort that many of us thought we'd deliver. It's certainly not a budget that should throw us into an election at an uncertain time, but it does not live up to its promise of generational investments. He goes on to say that this is Mr. Nate Erskine-Smith, a Liberal MP, that Mark Carney has broke his promise to spend less, with $90 billion of new spending, only 36% of which is actually capital. The rest is more costs. So when you have a Liberal MP attacking the costly credit card budget that Mr. Carney has put forward, then we see turmoil in the Liberals, and I know that there will be wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of this turmoil, of a Liberal MP criticizing his own budget days before the vote. I know you're camped outside his office right now, waiting to get comment from him. I know you've been chasing Mark Carney down hallways to find out what he has to say. I mean, it's just been the relentless coverage that you will have of this dissent within the Liberal Party. I understand also there's former Liberal Minister Guilbeault is unhappy with the environmental policies, that while he supports raising costs, he doesn't think they raise them enough. We've got Wilkinson is unhappy. So I know that I'm looking forward to seeing the wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of all of the costly turmoil in the Liberal budget. So I will be tuning in tonight to watch your newscast. Thank you.
Aaron Collins, CBC. So Chris d'Entremont, just turning back to last week, said that your party is being run like a frat house. So I'm just curious what you think he means by that, and if you think
well, I think that CBC had to be. Are you with CBC, by the way?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay, right.
So I'm just curious if you think that that could lead to more MPs leaving your caucus, and what you think he means by that.
Well, first of all, CBC has had to correct the falsehoods that they put into that story. So I encourage you to tell Canadians about the falsehoods you published and explain why you did that. But I would ask if you agree with Mr. d'Entremont, or do you believe he was telling the truth when he said, and I'm going to quote, "Now, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting." He said that he would be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate, and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane for a G7 country. Mr. d'Entremont said that Liberal food price inflation is inhumane. Do you believe that he was telling the truth when he said that? Yes. Oh, you can.
Want to ask any questions?
I did already. I already said that your report from CBC was wrong, and we have corrected the record. We put out a statement. We stand by the statement. But I have a statement here from Mr. d'Entremont. He says, since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate, and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane in a G7 country. Do you agree with Mr. d'Entremont that Mark Carney's food price inflation is inhumane?
So again, I asked you if you thought that if what you thought Mr. d'Entremont meant by your party being run like a frat.
Well,
whether or not you thought that would lead to more MPs leaving your caucus. That's the question for you, sir. No.
So I answered your question. And so the answer that I have back to you is that Mr. d'Entremont this is a quote from just a few months ago, where he said that Liberal food price inflation was inhumane. And you know what? He's right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.